So, good afternoon, friends. We want to learn NumPy. We have already started with that in our subject, that is Python for data science, right? So, today we want to learn that using Jupyter Notebook on Linux. So, for that, how to start it in our lab, that's what I am showing you here. So, this is the terminal that is on to you, fine. Now, in whatever directory you are going to put your files, so go to that directory. Now, I can write it as Jupyter Notebook. All of you must be knowing that when you press the tab, Linux terminal will complete the name, right? So that you can do, fine. Enter. So it will start the Jupyter Notebook. And now we can see that, right? Here in the browser, we'll be able to see that. And whatever files are there in that directory, that you can see here, fine. Okay, till now we were seeing these files on the Google Colab, right? Now today we'll see in the Jupyter Notebook, okay, because locally we are going to work with the Jupyter Notebook only, fine. And a CSV file, many a times the CSV file size is too big to put on the Colab, and then after run it, it will take longer time, right? So better to work with the local Jupyter Notebook. That will be better. So we can read the CSV file directly. Otherwise, we have to upload it. That also I have already told you, right? Files.upload, we can upload the file on the Google Colab. Then after, we'll be able to work with that. That is also possible. But big size is there. So in uploading also, it will take time. As well as in processing also, it will take time. Fine. So better we can work with the local files. So if you are having the facility, you can use it. Now you will be using it in the lab. So in lab, the facility is there. So you can use it. Fine. So let me show you this. This is our Jupyter Notebook. Now, which file we want to open here? That is our IPYNB file. As we were opening in the Colab, here also we'll open that. We have started with the NumPy. So that's what I'm opening here. Kernel, it was showing black. That means it is loading, right? And now we can see that the file is being opened here. So this is what we are typically used to have, right? NumPy as part of the module. They are the second module, that is data science and Python, and third module, that is getting your hands dirty with the data. In both the modules, NumPy is there. I have combined that and I'm showing you here. Fine. Okay. So not that. Fine. Let's see that. We already seen, right? What we have to do is NumPy installation, or we can say import NumPy. This is what we have already seen, right? Here we can run that using this run. Now till what we have seen, shape was there, S type was there. Then after NDArray.size, that also we have seen. D type, that also we have seen. D name, D type dot T name. Probably this was remaining. This one we have seen, right? This D type, that is for NP array, that was we have seen. But for having that in existence, we need to run these X and Y arrays. Otherwise, we'll not be able to use it. So better to have this X. So run this cell. See, otherwise this will not be there in effect, isn't it? We have opened this just now. We have run this in last lecture. Fine. So that is not there in effect here. That also we have run in column. Just now we are running in Jupyter Notebook. So it is not there in effect. So we have to run that particular cell so that X value and y value will be there in the effect. Fine. So though we have covered all these things, at least first of all we have to run this cell. Then after we can run any other code, right? Otherwise it will not run because we want to use this x, y, and z. Fine. So let me show you this. This is our x. Here it is, right? This is our x. Then after, let us say that this is y. We are running the cell, isn't it? This dimension, shape, S type that we have already seen. Len also, that is the len. Size also, that also we have seen. Yeah, D type, right? Now we want to see the D type. So let us run this. Z is not available. Where is Z? Z cell we haven't run. So it is giving us error. This one. Z cell also we have to run. Now we can go to, yeah, now this will run. Fine, now it is showing us integer 64, integer 64, integer 64, right? And if you do not remember the value of it, let me show you here. Print x. Let me run this. This is our x, right? 5674. Then we can say what is there in y. Let me show that also. Print y. Run this. This is our y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fine. And after that, we can say we want to see z also. Print z. So what's the value of it? It is, we can say, it is having 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then after 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? This was the value of x, y, and z. NumPy arrays. Okay. Now let us proceed further. X dot d type dot name. So what it will give us? That is in 64. Right? That was we were getting before also. We want to know what is the type of our particular column, right? So for that, we can say that we would like to know its type. If its type is not what is required to us, then we need to convert it. That is, you can say we'll be using the S type, isn't it? Using the S type, we can convert it to other type. Why it is required? Because for data mining, or we can say for machine learning algorithms, typically, we need to have the numeric data. We need to have the numeric data. And if whatever data set we are having, in that the data type is not numeric, then we need to convert it, isn't it? So at that time, we may be using it this way. Fine. Otherwise, other things are also there to convert the data, but this is one way. Fine. So we should first of all know that what is the type of a particular column in the data set. All of you must have seen your data set, right? So in that you have seen that few columns are there and we are having the comma separated values, right? And comma separated values, they are representing the value for each and every column. So in your data set, you may be having the numeric values, you may be having say string values, you may be having say Boolean values, right? So you can be having the values which we need to understand, and then after we can apply, we can process on that, and then we can apply the data mining or machine learning algorithm. So are we going to use the machine learning algorithms? No, it is not part of our subject. Fine. But the way this Python for data science works is the way our curriculum is there. In that, first of all, you will learn this Python data science, that is Pandas, NumPy, and many other libraries will learn in this subject. After that, you will learn the data mining subject, where we'll be applying, say, classification, clustering, those algorithms. In machine learning also, we'll be having such more detailed algorithms, right? And then after you can say deep learning will be done, which is the latest topic these days for not only computer engineers, but for many others, right? So this is the sequence, the way we will learn in our curriculum, fine? So for this subject, this is the basic subject. Python for data science is the basic subject. And as we have already discussed, data scientist or data science engineer, that is the best job today. Hottest job we can say. Best salary paying job. So better to work with this subject properly because it is a basic subject. Then after you have to work with this in many other subjects. Even in your other subject practicals, you will be able to use this subject. It will make your life very simple. Okay. So work with that. Every day do practice with whatever concepts are being taught to you. Whatever were already taught, and if you haven't practiced, do that first. So you will be clear with Python, and after you can apply for data science. Okay. Because this is the subject where we are having Python and data science. Okay. Python we have already covered. Data science we have started. Fine. So ndarray.item size, that will give us what? The size in the bytes of each element of array. For example, an array of element of type float 64 has item size 8, right? So what we can see is 64 divided by 8, while one type complex 32 has item size 4, that is equal to 32 by 8, right? So we can say how we can see the item size. We can run this and we can have the size. Here one thing is that is when we run this particular cell. Let me show you again. It will scroll to the next cell, right? So you will see I was checking for item size and it is data. Quite distant, right? You may get confused, but do not get confused. Just scroll upwards, right? There your output is there. The way Jupyter Notebook works is this way only, right? It will scroll to the next cell. So now ndarray.data. So what we can say is the buffer containing the actual elements of the array. Let us see what it is having. Here control enter doesn't work, but it is that way only. Just a second. Here in LCD, you can see a view like this, right? Where you can find the menus here. Otherwise, you can see it properly also. That is what you can say horizontally, from which you can select the things. Okay. And I have zoom also to a good level. So online students will be able to see it properly, isn't it? Otherwise, they'll not be able to see. And you also may not be able to see if I'll reduce the size. Okay. But when you are working on the PC, at that time, you can see that. Okay. So from that, you can say cell. From that, you will be able to select run cells and select below. Then run cells and insert below, right? That you will be able to get. All the menus are there. Fine. All the menus are there. You can use it. Fine. Okay. So let me show. Okay. X dot data, Y dot data, Z dot data. What it gives us? It gives us memory at a particular location, right? Memory at a particular location and what it is having. Number of bytes. Okay. Then now this will create problem for us. Let it go. Otherwise, we'll not be able to see this, isn't it? The size is this much only. And we want to see it bigger also, right? So we have to, what you can say, concise other things. Otherwise, we'll not be able to see, isn't it? Okay. So let us create the array of complex data. Complex data is typically, we used to say it as, say, 5 plus ij. ij, 5 plus, say, 5j, right? This way we used to say the complex data. Complex data type, science ma probably you are studying, right? Okay. So that is that. Say import numpy as np. This is known to us, right? To use the numpy array or to use the numpy library, we have to use it as import numpy as np. Okay. Now we want to create the numpy array. Why we want to create the numpy array? Because it makes our life so simple for complex operations. Complex operations doesn't mean to have the complex data type. Complex operation means, I told you that, say, big matrix are there. If you want to just do the addition or subtraction or any other operations, we just have to write, say, a plus b, right? Otherwise, if other languages are there or if we are using the logic, we have to maintain the loops and then after we'll be able to do the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? But here, numpy array makes our life so simple that we just have to do the plus, or few methods are there like add, sub, methods are there that also we can use to do the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, which is mostly useful to us. If you want to just do plus 2 in all the rows and columns, that will make very simple with numpy array. But if you are using the logic in other languages, it will take longer time. See, what is required is you should do the operation and get the result. How to do is not important in this subject. Till now, you may have done it with other subjects, but there it was required. Now you do not require that. You just want to get the result. That is what is important. And for that, we should have simple operations that we can do with numpy, right? So we can say C is equal to np dot array. We are giving, say, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you write it like this? Can you write it like this? No, you cannot, isn't it? Because what do we say is, the way we are writing in our other languages also, there we used to provide the curly braces, right? So here also we should provide the braces. But braces, in this language we are having the syntax that is square bracket. So we'll be providing square bracket, right? So you cannot write it as simple, this 1 comma 2 in one square bracket, comma 3 comma 4 in other. That will not work. You have to put it inside the other square bracket, fine? Okay. And what is the D type? That is, we are specifying as complex, fine? So, and after that, we are giving it as what? C. I mean, we are printing that. Let us see this. Where has it gone? Scroll up, right? Do not forget that. Do not get confused, right? Actually, what is the design of this Jupyter notebook? That is, it gives the output. So after that, you want to do something. So for that, it gives you the cell. Typically, what we do is, running of this is over. Okay, go to next cell for doing something. Isn't it? That is what is the logic. And that is why it is scrolling to the next cell. So you can write the other code. Fine. But what we want to do is, we want to see the output and then after we want to do something. Okay. So that is what is here. So what is the case here? np dot array 1, 2, 3, 4. So what it does? 1 plus 0j, 2 plus 0j, 3 plus 0j, and 4 plus 0j, right? The way we have created the numpy array is where we are having this one only, right? We haven't provided it as, say, 1 plus 2j there. We have provided 1, 2, 3, 4. So j part we haven't specified, the imaginary part that we haven't specified. So it will consider it as 0j, right? So that is what is here. Now zeros. Shape we have to provide. Shape is typically row and column. Shape is row and column, right? Okay. So D type that we should provide an order. Order that is C. By default it is C. What is that? That is the row measure. Right? In arrays, in say C language or C++ language, we used to talk about the row measure, right? Row measure and column measure. So you can recall that here by default it is return is C. So you may confuse it is column measure. No, C, it is the row measure, right? So why it is so? Maybe you can consider it is according to our C language, right? The way you want to remember. I'm not saying that it is that, but the way we want to remember is C में जैसा होता है, right? Fine. So what we say is uh, C style. C style is what? C language only, right? C style, that means in C language, what we are having is row measure. Fine. That is what is that. C style, C language style. Is here C style, and that is row measure. And for that it is C. So do not get confused that it is C, so it is column measure. It is not so. Do not get confused with that, okay? It is C style. C style means C language style. Fine? Okay. So what we want to do is, we want to create an array full of zeros. Why do we need that? Many times we want to have, say, addition of two arrays, and we want to put it in one array, that is a resultant array, right? Or otherwise you can say that you are having the array of zero, all zeros. Then after you want to do the addition. Typically we used to do it as sum plus equal to say number. Sum plus equal to a number. So what will we do is, the number will be added in this sum, right? Then after again we'll take other number and we'll do sum plus equal to that number, right? One by one we used to give other numbers. Same thing we can do here also. For that we need to have the array that is matrix. Here it is list, okay? It is not array. Here we are talking of the list, but it is NumPy array, isn't it? Do not confuse with the array of C language and Java language, because you will be having that only in your mind, right? Here if we want to create array, simple array, we have to use the array package, array library, isn't it? Array, the way we are having in other language, for that we need to have array library that we have already used. Fine. This is NumPy array. This is NumPy array. Okay. So, but for that also we have to provide the list. To create it, we have to provide the list, isn't it? So, if we want to create any matrix, the way we do the operation, for that we need to have all elements as 0. 3 cross 3 matrix, simple. We can say we want to store 0 in that. All the elements initialized by 0. So typically in other language, what we are doing is, for I is equal to j, I is equal to 0, I less than row, I plus plus. Then for j is equal to 0, j is less than column, j plus plus. Then after we are giving array of I, j is equal to 0. This is what we typically used to do to initialize 0 in a matrix, right? But here, very simple, only a single line. And that is the function zeros that will create NumPy array full of zeros, right? It makes our life so simple. Let us see that. A is equal to np.zeros. Shape we have to provide, I said you, right? Shape, that means row and column, right? So 2 rows and 3 column we want to provide. D type is equal to integer. Order is C. Is it column measure? No, right? It is C style and that is row measure. Fine? Okay. So do not get confused with that. And we are printing it. Fine? Oh, 2 we have given. Okay. No. Here. Scroll down. Right? So do not get confused. That's why I show you. Okay. You may think 2, 3 shift was given and output is 0, 0, 0, 0. Right? So you get confused. So do not get confused. Scroll above so you'll be able to see the output. Fine? Okay. So it is 2, 3. So 2 rows and 3 columns are there. It makes our life simple. No need to have 2 loops. Array ij is equal to 0. Just one line. That is np dot zeros and this one. Fine? So data science is so nice. And with Python, oof, cool, isn't it? Okay, so let us create one more array so you can have the idea. np dot zeros 2, 2, right? This is D type is float and order is C. What is C? C style row measure. Okay. So we can run this. See the output. What is this? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Got it? Fine. Okay. Now numpy dot zeros like. What is that? It returns an array of zeros with the same shape and type as given in the array. Let us check it out. Order is equal to K. See, first is A. Second is D type. That is none. Third is order K. Sub OK is equal to true and shape is equal to none. This is what are the parameters. Right? Let us see what are they. It return an array of zeros with the same shape as and type given in the array. What do we mean by that? Order is C, F, A, K. C means C order, F means F order, A means F. If A is Fortran contiguous, C otherwise. K means match the layout of as closely as possible. Let's see that. Let's see the example. It will make our life simple. Okay. Print x. First of all, let us print x. Then after np dot zeros underscore like x. And we are storing that in Excel. Other array. What array? NumPy array. Okay. And then after we are printing that, we are trying for these functions, isn't it? Yeah. Here, what we are having is 5, 6, 7, 4. This is the original array. What do we want is, we want to have the array of zeros of the same shape with the same type. Got it? Typically, when we want to have the matrix operations, at that time we want to have this only. That is, whatever is the already available array, that size only we want to have for matrix, and we want to initialize that to 0, right? That we want to initialize to 0. If we are giving the zeros, that is the function zeros, there we have to provide the size, that is the shape. We have to provide the D type also, right? So that should be known to you. And then after you can apply it here. But with this zeros like, it makes our life simple. We do not need to provide the size, that is the shape. We do not need to provide the D type. It will consider whatever array you are specifying. According to that, it will take the shape also as well as the type also. Fine. And it will initialize that to 0. Fine. So that makes our life simple. So it is zeros underscore like, right? Once. This will make what? Matrix initialize to 1, right? Let's see that. np dot ones shape is 5, 4. So 5 rows, 4 columns. D type is float and this is C style row measure, right? Okay. So do not forget that. 4 scroll above, right? Yeah, it is 5 for only. Yeah, that is here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 columns are there and 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. numpy.random.random shape. Generate numpy array of shape with random numbers. So for that, import numpy as np. Do you every time need to import the numpy as np? It is already imported in this particular file, right? So no need to import it again and again. But it happens that when you are opening this file, you want to run this particular cell only. So at that time, you need to have import, right? Once at least import should be there when you are running this particular file, okay? Otherwise, what will happen? It will give you error. Then after you import it, what else? Isn't it? No need to worry. So here, and here, np.random, in that we are providing the shape as 2, 2. So it will generate the random number and the size of the matrix is 2, 2, right? Okay. What is np.random.random? Typically, we are using np.zeros, np.zeros underscore live. So why is it so? In our object-oriented programming language, we used to have, say, packages there. Inside that, other packages there. Then after, you can say a particular class is there or particular function is there. This is what is available here also, right? In NP, that is in NumPy, random is there. After that, the random function is there, right? So that's what we are using here. If you do not want to write like this, you may be using it the way you can say import numpy.random as say nr. Suppose I am giving this. Then here I should not provide it as np.random because this is what is already being considered. Numpy.random. Now what should I write is nr.random. Okay, fine. See, if I am saying your name, for my name, let me say, because I do not know your full name. My name, say Ami Tusharkan Chakshi. Fine. Now, if I am saying that Ami Tusharkan Chakshi whole as AC or ATC, then if I say ATC, it means Ami Tusharkan Chakshi. Whole is considered. Fine. But I do not want to have that way. I say for Ami Tusharkan. Okay. For that, I am saying as 80. So I need to write is as 80 and Chakshi. Are you getting this? This is only there, isn't it? If you are considering numpy as np, then whatever you want to have, that is a particular function which is available in numpy, then dot random, then function. That is, you can say whatever is the function. Here random only is there. Any function can be there. But if you want to get it from numpy.random, then if you are assigning only to numpy as np, then you need to write it as np.random.random. If you want that, the way I have given here, that numpy.random as nr, then I just need to have it as nr.random. Got the point? Right? Okay, it's simple, but you should know it, isn't it? So we can see that the random number is being assigned here. Fine. Shape we have already provided. Now numpy.I, n, m is equal to none, k is equal to 0, d type is equal to class, for example float, and order is C. Now you know that, right? C style row measure. Written a 2D array with ones on the diagonal and zeros elsewhere. Diagonally 1 and other 0, right? This is what we want to create. For maths, you know that we need to have such array, isn't it? So that is numpy array. What is n? That is the integer number of rows. What is m? It is integer number of columns, but it is optional, right? K is integer, that is also optional, index of diagonal. C and F, this is now known to us. That is C is C style row measure and F is Fortran style column measure, right? It is based on the language. C style is row measure, Fortran is column measure, right? So N and M size, that is the shape of the array, it will give us. Let us see this, we can have the idea. NPI, 2 we have specified. So what it will give us? The identity matrix 1001, right? 1001. If we are giving np.i3, what it gives us? 100010001. Diagonal 1, right? So very simple way by which we can create it. That is only np.i, right? Very easy. And float 64 is by default. Here it was there. Float is by default. Float is by default. Okay. So identity, that is create the identity matrix. Let us see this. np.identity 5, d type is equal to integer. Diagonally 1 is there. With I also we have done the same thing. With identity also we are getting the same thing, right? Empty creates an array. Whole initial content is random and depends on the state of the memory. By default, the D type of the created array is float 64. So for that, we can say here np.empty 3, that is 3 rows, 3 column size. Now see, shape means you should understand it is row and column, right? So we'll be giving it as 3 or whatever we want to give, row and column. Fine. So what we are giving is 100010001. Fine. Diagonal ones we want to have. NumPy.full. So what it does, return a new array of given shape and size filled with value. Whatever value we want to give, right? If we are giving 1, then it should give us 111 only. Fine. Okay. So whatever is the array we want to have, let us see that. Here we can say f is equal to np.full 2 row 2 column and fill value is 7. So it will create 7777. Fine. Simple. Only thing is you should know the function which you want to use to create a particular thing. If you do not know, then you will need to write it manually. Fine. For this NumPy array, or you can say for pandas, for many other libraries which we will learn, for all of them we are having the cheat sheet. That is smaller sheet, you can say, only say 1 page or 2 page. There in small, the function is given, its description is there, and one example is there. So you can remember that very easily. Fine. Here the whole IPYNB file is there. You can try the example. You can have the idea. But at the time of exam, you cannot refer to whole IPYNB file. So at that time, cheat sheet will be useful to you. Fine. So this also we can see with 2 it fills. Then np.inf. np.inf is infinity. With that, we want to fill whole matrix. So for that, we can use np.full and np.inf. Infinity. Right? It is available in np. That is NumPy. Then arrange. Start, stop, and step. Typically, we used to have the range function in Python. There we are saying that start is there, start and stop is there, as well as start, stop, and whatever increment or decrement you want to do, that also is there, right? So such thing you can say arrange. Start, stop, step creates an array containing evenly spaced values within a specified interval. Start of the interval, stop of the interval, step, that is the spacing between the values. Default step is 1. If you are not specifying, then it is default 1. And p dot arrange 10, that is a start, 30 is stop, and 5 is step, right? Okay. So what it does for us, 10, 15, 20, 25. 10, 15, 20, 25. We have specified 5 as step. Step means increment. Increment, right? 30. It is and. Typically, we can say that less than that will be created, isn't it? For range also, we used to consider that and minus 1 is there, right? So here also it is there, evenly spaced. Plus 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 is there, so it is evenly spaced only, isn't it? Plus 5, plus 5, plus 5. So it is evenly spaced, isn't it? So here it has considered 10, 15, 20, 25 and not 30. Okay. Otherwise you can say 30 is the end. So why haven't you considered? It will not be there, isn't it? Because minus 1 will be there for end. Okay. So this is, you can say, is 10, 15, 20, 25. So if you want to consider, say, evenly spaced array, then you can use this, right? Now this is specific. When arrange is used with floating point arguments, here we have specified integer arguments. So it is fine. Plus 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 will be there. But when used with floating point arguments, it is generally not possible to predict the number of elements obtained. When we are having integer number, we can say 2 is there, 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 2, 6. This is very simply we can do. But if specified as 1.2, then 5 plus 1.2 plus 1.2 plus 1.2, that will be difficult. That's what they are saying, right? Whatever say starting number and number, steps, if they are there in floating point, then it will be difficult. That's what is there. So it is generally not possible to predict the number of elements obtained due to the finite floating point precision. For this reason, it is usually better to use a function that is linspace, that receives as an argument the number of elements that we want. How many elements we want, that we can specify with linspace. So if you want to have the floating point number, then do not use this function, but use the linspace function. Okay. Arrange we should not use. We should use the linspace. So start, stop, number, and point is equal to true. Return step, that is equal to false. D type is equal to none. Axis is equal to 0. Return evenly spaced numbers over a specified interval. Right? How much will be that? That is 50. That's what we have specified. For example, in this, returns num evenly spaced samples calculated over the interval of start and stop. Right? The endpoint of the interval can optionally be excluded. Let us see here. We can have the idea. Yeah. np.linspace 2, 10, 2 and 10, right? Number is equal to 5. Endpoint is equal to false. Let's see what it gives us. np.linspace 2 and 10. 2, then 3.6, then 5.2, 6.8. What is this? Should it have 2 plus 5, then plus 5, then plus 5, then that way? It was there in a range, not here. Evenly spaced numbers we want to have. Evenly spaced numbers we want to have. Now here, what we can say? 3.6 minus 2, 1.6. After that, this is 3.6 and this is 5.2. 5.2 minus 3.6, 1.2. 1.6. Is it same as this one? Sure? No? Okay, na? Okay, so fine. Okay, so evenly spaced array is created. Fine. Here we are not saying that the distance should be 1.2 or 5 or 6 or whatsoever. That we are not specifying. We are only specifying that evenly spaced array should be created. Okay. So should we step now? Okay, fine. તો તમે થોડા વહેલા આવો ભાઈ. બોલ મહારાષ્ટ્રમાં. સ્ટોપ ના થયો. What happened? What happened?